Welcome back to the Painting Coach, and in this video we're going to be painting the throne and the Satan for the Silent King. Sit back, enjoy, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified of all my new videos. Okay, welcome to the Silent King painting tutorial, and today we're doing the throne. And we're going to do the Satan or the Catan or whatever you want to call it. I think we'll just call him Bob from now on. And the first thing to say is don't really be intimidated by this kit, because it's a paint to put together, but once it is together, painting wise, it's going to be straightforward. So you can see from the throne itself, I've undercoated it Chaos Black. And for the Satan, I undercoated it with Grey Seer. Now, the reason I use Grey Seer, I haven't got any Corax White left, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a little dry brush, but I'm also going to go in and paint these colours to the colours that they need to be, so the silver and the black, before we make a start on him. So to get going, we're going to do the silver bits first. So get your bigger brushes out for this, because there's quite a bit of silver, but a lot of black as well. So I'm using Iron Breaker for this. It's a nice dark metallic, and that'll kind of help us. So we're just going to, check the box art if you're not sure which bits are silver. The box art and the instructions, I don't know if Games Workshop seem to have stopped putting painting colours in their instructions. I guess you can find them online, but hopefully my tutorials are just as good, if not better, in some instances. So just work your way around all the silver bits. Check the website as well, the Games Workshop website, because it does have a 360 view, which is kind of useful for these kind of bits. When I finish doing the Iron Warriors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Abaddon Black. I'm going to paint all the bits that need to be black and also tidy up if I overspill with our Iron Warriors, and also paint these bits of black stone that you've got coming off as well, because we're going to do some funky glazing techniques on these to give us the effect that we want, to do it a lot quicker than having to just glaze with lots of different colours. So get that done, come back, and then we'll make a start on the darker areas. So you can see I've done quite a lot of the silver there. Just one more kind of little bit of metallic before we jump onto the black. We've got these ball joints on here, which the jets rotate on. So I'm just paint these with some Balthasar Gold. And we'll give it a little wash once it's dry. And then worry about highlighting it up later. So don't forget, you've got 3 of these to do on the back. And get a nice solid coat. So if you need to do 2, then do 2. Otherwise we let that dry. We'll give it a wash next, then we'll come back, we'll jump onto all that black next. Once that Balthasar Gold is dry, just take a little bit of Nuln Oil and just wash it over into the recesses, and just kind of pull it down towards the bottom, because that's where we want it to settle. Now I'm not going to bother washing all of the silver, because there's an absolute ton of it. And I don't need to, because the Iron Warrior is so dark that all we need to do is just kind of highlight it, and it'll look really effective. So just get these finished, let them dry, and we'll highlight them later. But we'll move on to the black next. Let's make a start on the black highlighting then. So there's a lot of black, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Incubi Darkness. I'm just going to run it over these kind of top edges. I know that Szarekh will actually cover some of that. Now I've thinned this down. It's a little, I want to say maybe 2 parts paint, sorry, 2 parts water to 1 part paint. I just want to work around everything, catching as many edges as I can. It might look a little bright there for you, but as the kind of paint dries, it'll kind of blend back down. And then when it comes to the kind of the more vertical ones that we can't catch with the brush, just take your time and use the point of the brush to just draw down, so we can get the highlight in. Now there's quite a lot of black on the model, as you can see, so it's entirely up to you how much you do. Take your time, and if come back to it later, but I'm going to do as much as I can, and then we'll come back and I'll kind of do another highlight on it to start making it pop out a bit. Alright, so once we're done with our Incubi Darkness, we want to go in with some Thunderhawk Blue, and we want to make sure you don't have too much on your brush, but just looking to go over that Incubi Darkness with a thinner line of the Thunderhawk Blue. So again, take your time on this one, because this is what's going to make the black start to really stand out. So you don't want to go too stark. Of course, when the paint dries, it will of course kind of blend in a little bit. And the same thing that we did before when it comes to painting in these vertical lines. Just take your time with the brush. As for how thin this paint is, again, it's fairly thin, but it's got a little bit of bite in it, so just working it around there. And you can see it does kind of help it out. So just work your way around the model, make sure it's inside the Incubi Darkness. You don't want this to be too thick. And then we'll come back with, once we've done all that, and we'll just put some spot highlights in to make it really pop. So we've done quite a bit now. We're up and running, we're going well. I've taken the steps off because they were a little bit loose, so I need to go and repair the work I've done. The last thing we're going to do for the black is just take some Fenrisian Grey. We're just going to use that on the kind of the sharpest edges and corners. Use this sparingly, because if you use too much, the model might look a little bit too bright. If you make any mistakes, then you can just go and fix it with either some black or some of that Thunderhawk Blue that we used in the last stage. So work your way around doing this. Again, like I said, as sparingly as possible. And then we'll come back and we'll get on to highlighting the silver. Okay, for the metal, the first highlight, we're just going to take some Necron Compound and we're going to dry brush up towards the top. So we're leaving it darker at the bottom and we're just dry brushing up towards the top. So just take your time, work it in there. And what you'll start to see is you'll get a nice gentle transition. The other thing we want to do as well is we want to probably hold them a little better than that. We want to dry brush these pylons. Obviously being careful about the stuff we've already finished with the black. But what we want to do is once we've done it once, we want to do it again, but just closer to the top. And with these ones here, we're dry brushing down towards the bottom. So just work your way all the way around, get all that dry brushing done, and then we'll come back and we'll put a line highlight on. Line highlight in the silver is nice and simple. Just a little bit of my old favourite, chrome. And we're just going to run it down and catch as many edges as we can. So just checking that was in focus then before I and as you can see, as we're in the lighter areas, you don't see it so much, but as we come down to the darker areas, it really gives us a nice effective line. So work your way around all the pylons, all the silver, get this chrome along the edge. It shouldn't take too long to do. And then I think we're going to make a start on all the kind of the green orbs, etc. So yeah, so get that done and we'll come back and we'll have a little bit of fun. Okay, next up we're going to start some of these green glows. So just take some Caliban Green. I'm just going to dry brush it inside all the areas that are going to have that green glow. And it won't come up too much to start with. But what you'll find is that as we build up these layers, we're actually going to get a nice glow effect in some of these areas. So work your way around the model, find all those bits where you want that glow, and then we'll come back and we'll add the next steps. Going to do the same thing again, but using Warpstone Glow. This is a lighter colour focused on just the middle of the light, and again you're not going to get too much difference, but it will start to kind of pick up a little bit. And again, you just want it to focus on the middle of that kind of glowing area. And next up, just take some Moot Green. Now keep in mind that the orb, we're going to paint the orb separately anyway, so we're just looking to paint those areas around the orb. And you can see there that you're starting to get, we're there, we've got the glow effect. So it's a nice, easy, simple glow effect. And I've got to be honest, guys, 100%, if you've got an airbrush, these effects would be so much easier if you did use an airbrush, because you can just really kind of get some really cool glows going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to now paint all the orbs with Corax White. I'll show you that quickly, but I'm just going to work my way around and find any other kind of glowy bits that I want to be that colour. As for Bob, the Catan, whatever Bob is, I've left him that colour because we're going to really build this up, and it's a real centerpiece and we really want it to pop out. So I've just kind of done all the painting around him, and we're going to do our colour him, and we'll finish up the edge highlight using green edge highlights on the inside just to simulate that glow. So painting all the orbs is just a case of popping some Corax White on them. Taking care when you come to areas that you've already finished. And we're also going to do the ones inside this glow that we've put together. So again, just take care not to go over any of the kind of hard bits, because what we'll then do is we'll put Tesseract Glow contrast paint or technical paint over them, and that'll really kind of give us the effect we want, so it looks like they're glowing green. So work your way around all the orbs. Now, depending on if you're painting over a lighter colour or a darker colour, you may find that it's going to take 2, maybe 3 coats, but just make sure it's really dry before you go back in for the second coat, and we'll come back. I'm also going to paint the kind of energy underneath as well, because we can do that with the Tesseract Glow whilst we have it out. Once we're really sure that Corax White is dry, we're going to paint the whole thing with Tesseract Glow, just like that. So work your way around all the orbs that you've painted white and add that Tesseract Glow in. If you've got too much, just pop the brush in to take some of it off. And then don't forget as well, we'll do Bob. Poor Bob. But essentially we just want to get a nice even coverage of Tesseract Glow over him and all the orbs, etc. So just work it on, and it'll kind of work its way into the recesses then as well, and obviously we'll come in and add some more refinements to him as well. Okay, let's move over to Bob then. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to kind of establish this glow. So we just want to take some Caliban Green, just thin it down, and we just kind of want to run it on the inside. Now just be really careful when you come to Bob's connections, because we don't want to spill that on there. So just work that round, and we'll put that kind of internal glow in place next. Then take some Warpstone Glow, and we're just going to line highlight like we did for all the black armour, but this is just kind of going to be so that we can get that glow on the inside like that, and as it dries it'll blend down nicely as all the black armour does as well. So get that done both sides, and then we'll come back for that final highlight, and then we'll start to work on Bob himself. The last colour we just want to pop in right on that edge, just a little bit of Moot Green. You can see that gives us that nice green glow. So whenever you're doing OSL or glowing effects, the area that's lit will never be as bright as the source of the light. So as this Moot Green just blends down now as it dries, it should give us that nice differentiation between Bob. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll come back and we'll start to work on Bob himself. First thing I want to do is I want to paint this, I don't know what it is. It's not heart shaped, but I guess that's kind of the centre of his being, with some Corax White. So let that dry, and we'll come back and we'll put a contrast paint on it next. Now the colour we're going to put over it is Volupus Pink contrast paint. So just be careful, take your time, work it around. Just like that. I'm going to clean my brush off. Now the other thing we want to do as well, which might be difficult for me to do on cam, but you want to be really careful with this, is get a really good point on your brush. And you want to draw that Volupus Pink along these incisions. Oh. So I messed that up big time, but I've managed to save it. So I'm going to, like I said, I thought it would be too difficult for me to do on cam, so I'm going to finish them off cam, and we'll come back and I'll fix that little mistake and we'll start to shade him a bit more. Okay, to fix that mistake, I'm just going to paint the area with some Moot Green. Don't worry, it'll darken things up a little bit, but we'll go back in and brighten stuff up. And the other thing we're going to do when we've got that Moot Green out is we're just going to line in all the sort of musculature on the C'tan, or Bob as he's affectionately known for the purposes of this video, just to provide some contrasting colours. So wherever we've got a dip, if you're not sure, check the box art or check the website actually, because gamesworkshop.com has got a really nice close-up of the C'tan for this. So get that done and we'll come back and we'll just darken him up a little more. And then we'll kind of light up with the highlights. The next colour we're going to use is a little bit of Warpstone Glow. And I've thinned this down with a bit of water. So just pushing this to those extremes around where that Moot Green has gone. Just some of those central areas. And those bits that are really kind of in shadow, and you can start to see it's really kind of starting to pop up now. So we'll pop along a little bit along there just because that's in shadow, and the same on the underside there. So there we are, work your way around the front and the back. We'll add a little more of a shade with a darker green again, and then we'll come back to highlight. So the last bit of shade in with some very, very thin Caliban Green, and it might look dark when it goes on, but as it dries, it'll blend in nicely. Again, if you're not sure which bits to be doing, check the website. We're just looking for some really high contrasting bits where we've got the dark green and the lighter green, and then what we'll do is we'll highlight this all up to get the kind of live glowing effect, I guess is what we're looking for on Bob. So there we are. Work your way around, get that finished. If you don't want to do this, and you can just leave it as the Tesseract Glow, because that's not terrible. I'm just pushing the contrast a little bit here for the video. Start the highlights. We're going to take some Flash Gitz Yellow, and you want very little on your brush in all honesty with this, because if you put too much Flash Gitz Yellow on, it's going to get out of control really quickly. And what I'm doing is I'm using this to camouflage some of my mistakes a little bit, and I'm also using it to kind of edge under the pecs, and then drawing lines out from it, and then just looking to catch prominent areas around the face, the jawbone, and just kind of establish that line as to why we've kind of got that darker colour in there. So just work your way around, pop that on as little or as much as you want. Like I say, I've managed to cover my my mistake quite well there with that. Do as I say, not as I do, as the saying goes. So I'm just going to work around the face and just kind of get that in, then we'll do a final highlight. And I think Bob's done. The last highlight we're going to do is some Dorn Yellow, which is a fairly bright yellow colour. So we want to use it fairly sparingly, just on those most prominent areas. It's the shoulder there. And we can just continue that brighter colour on the chest. And we can look to work it out as well. Do that both sides, and that gives us a really nice bright highlight, a nice yellow green on the main man. So just work your way around, put as much or as little on as you want. I'm going to put a bit on because I want it kind of going up, and then I think we'll head back to the throne, and I think we're pretty much done. We've just got a few bits and pieces to do, but I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Okay, so I think the only bit we've got to finish are these kind of pylons here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use contrast again. I'm using Akhellian Green contrast paint, and I've mixed it with contrast medium. So it's 2 parts medium to 1 part paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint all of the pylons with that mix. You can see where this is going, can't you? And see the metallic highlights that we put on earlier are really sort of helping straight away bring out that brightness that you see on the box art. So just work this on. Now you don't want it to pool anywhere, so just pull it off. Let's work it around, nice and simple. And you can see there that we've got that transition without trying at all. So do both of them all the way around, and then we'll come back and have a look at it to see if we need a highlight. Otherwise the throne is done. We just need to base it, pop Bob on, and then it's done, ready for Szarekh himself next time. So there we have it. The throne and the C'tan for the Silent King are finished. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like and a comment down below. And I really hope you can see that just by using some simple techniques, you can get a really, really effective result. Keep an eye out for the next video where we'll be painting the Silent King himself, that fantastic flowing metallic cloak, his Praetorians, and those floaty shield things, which I believe are Triarchal Menhir, whatever that is. Don't forget, you can support the channel by using my Patreon link in the description. You get exclusive access to me, as well as a monthly frequently asked questions and exclusive content. You can get up to 20% of all your wargaming needs from Goblin Gaming, and you can see the link for all my recommended equipment. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.